Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Who the hell invented the sandwich? They ought to write a book about him.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Wake Up Heavy, Recollections of Horror. This is Mark Bigley, your host, and this is my look back at February movie watches and news and notes. And I've been starting these episodes with, well, I really didn't watch a whole lot this last month. I had a little Zoom chat with my friend Ronnie on Friday, and he said that he and his wife get a chuckle out of that because I say it and then I rattle off this list of movies. It's a relative thing, so this may seem like a lot to some people. It may seem like very little to others. For me, in comparison to years and months past, it's been light. It's been light since the beginning of the pandemic. For example, or for reference, I follow somebody on Twitter who, at the end of the year, when they posted their Letterboxd stats, the number of new movies watched for her was 895.
That doesn't sound right.
That's new movies, new to them movies. That made my head swim a little. For one thing, I can't imagine watching that many movies in a year. That's close to 2.5 movies a day. There are days when I watch 3 or more, but then there's a whole 4 or 5 days after that where I don't watch any. I can't imagine what her actual total was with rewatches, or maybe she didn't have an opportunity to do any rewatches. I don't know. It's all relative. For February, for my watches with Cleo and my wife, Carlita. Most of these were rewatches for me, new watches for Cleo.
Hey, that's me.
We had I think it was a Saturday or Sunday. My wife was out running her errands, and we were poking through the horror section on cable, and she noticed the Conjuring films, and I said, oh yeah, they're all up on HBO Max, and I think quite a few of them are also on Netflix right now. I have mentioned those to her before, and I said, now, just be aware, these are pretty creepy movies.
Well, we've been called ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
But we prefer to be known simply as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
And then I noticed that Ouija, Origin of Evil, is currently available. And that one is a movie that slips in and out, passes through streaming services, and is gone for a long periods of time. And I really enjoy that. And I said, well, this one's really good, and it's got Lulu Wilson, and she's in, this, that, and the other thing. So we watched that, and she really liked it, found it pretty creepy. We watched the first Conjuring movies, same deal. And then that night, we were all out in the front room doing a little sleepover because the Olympics were still on. And she woke up at about 3 that morning, having trouble sleeping, and had to turn on the TV. Had a little oops moment there. On a different weekend, Cleo and I were left to our own devices once again. She suggested that we watch It, the recent It's.
Why is it so mean?
So I have the first one on Blu-ray. We watched that, and I'm not sure where I found the second one. Talk about long. That second one's like almost 3 hours. So we watched those. I think she enjoyed those very much. Except for all the puking, which I totally get. I was the same way as a kid. And hey, I'm always willing to watch some Stephen King with her. The other big watch for us, we had a little Scream-a-thon this past weekend, and we had watched the first one, a couple months ago, I guess, and hadn't gotten around to any of the others. The new one is available now to us, and I thought, well, we still have 3 other ones we need to watch before we can get to that one. So we watched 2, 3, and 4 on Saturday. I forget that they're all just about 2 hours, which is over long for these films. And I watch these every couple of years or so. I think I did this full watch like in 2019. And every time I come away liking the sequels less and less. I still really enjoy the first one, but by the time we get to 4, this series is so far up its ass, it becomes just a meta nightmare. And they are fun for the most part, and I think Cleo enjoyed watching them. So we never did get around to watching the new one, the 5th one, just called Scream again, because people are idiots. So I'm curious to see how different it is from the other sequels, or if we're just being super meta again. But I'm up for watching it. I guess that says something.
What's your favorite scary movie?
My rewatches were pretty much all for
Begley on Begley Action Month
over at the Culture Cast, and for the couple I did for Wake Up Heavy. So nothing really new there. I did catch, while I was working, Dial M for Murder, and I had watched either last month or the month before that kind of remake with Viggo Mortensen and Gwyneth Paltrow that I'm unable to think of the title for.
It was called A Perfect Murder. Mark, you ding dong.
Then one of these movies that I watched a bunch, I think it was on cable just constantly when I was a teenager, and if I catch it, man, I just end up sitting through the whole damn thing. Hoosiers with Gene Hackman was on TCM. I think they were having, well, I know they were having a Gene Hackman day the other day, and there's just something about that movie that I can sit back and let it play out. First time watches. This first one is the movie that I get confused with Night Moves, because they both feature a very young Melanie Griffith in kind of inappropriate roles for her at her age. She was just barely 17 or 18 when those movies came out. So this is The Drowning Pool with Paul Newman, and he's revisiting his role as Harper, the PI.
Warner Brothers and First Artists presents Paul Newman as Harper in The Drowning Pool.
Him, again, being kind of goofy, which I really enjoy, like that cowboy movie he did with Lee Marvin that I brought up a couple of months ago. I caught a new movie with Margaret Qualley on cable, just sitting here while working, called My Salinger Year. Kind of sucked me in. I have a curiosity with J.D. Salinger and his life. Fairly interesting. Give it a whirl. And then this movie, this classic Peter Bogdanovich film, I'm not entirely sure whether it's a new watch or a rewatch. I honestly don't think I've ever sat and watched The Last Picture Show all the way through.
Anarene, Texas, 1951. Nothing much has changed.
So I did earlier this month when it played on TCM, which it does very often. I mean, it holds up to its classic status. Beautifully shot in black and white. Really interesting characters. A great cast. It's pretty much perfection. I watched the other day. I'm sort of prepping myself for when I'm going to be on Anthony's show, the Cult Movies Podcast, and we're going to talk about The Long Goodbye. So I'm trying to fill in some Elliot Gould gaps here. This is one I've seen pop up a few times called Busting, with him and Robert Blake. They play cops, vice cops, and so it was pretty interesting. Sometimes he gets a little too goofy in his roles, and I feel like I can understand why he was a problem and had trouble getting work back in the early to mid 70s. Feels like there's a lot of improv going on and him just wanting to be him. But it was pretty fun.
Busting. It's the dirty work that has to be done.
And then back to Gene Hackman, I watched Scarecrow with him and Al Pacino. And this is a movie, kind of a why didn't I rent this? I used to see this cover all the time, and I think I mistook it for a Dust Bowl, Grapes of Wrath type movie where they were hoboing around during the Great Depression in the 1930s or something. And I love both these actors. Why I never watched it, I don't know. I mean, well, I just explained why I probably didn't. But I don't know why that would have turned me off, really.
Max and Lion, the future owners of Maxie's Car Wash, Pittsburgh, PA.
Again, kind of goofy. Al Pacino is really goofy in this. Different kind of character for him, which I enjoyed seeing. And Gene Hackman just plays a total asshole. Some of it gave me a little bit of Rancho Deluxe feel, because they're two losers striking out on the road with big dreams in their heads and nothing seems to go right. When will I ever stop talking about Rancho Deluxe?
Rancho Deluxe.
First time watches for horror films this month. I caught a horror comedy that I had been looking forward to for a while. I heard good things about this. It's called Werewolves.
That was weird. It's called Werewolves Within.
And the director's other movie, called Scare Me, is, I believe, a Shudder exclusive. I watched that and enjoyed it pretty well. This was a little bit more ambitious, bigger cast. You've got some recognizable people in here. It was fun. It's worth a watch. Of course, now I can't remember. I think it's on Showtime right now. Now's your chance to catch it. Watched an early Monty Hellman film, The Beast from Haunted Cave. That was your typical Roger Corman, let's make a quick buck and not spend too much money on this film. But it was pretty well written and well directed by Hellman, if nothing else. Okay, I mentioned this on the Cat People episode that I just put out. I did watch the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre that dropped on Netflix a week or so ago. I have no real super deep connection with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I don't think I watched the first film until I was in my 20s. Spooked me for a lot of years. I've seen the sequel and don't care for it, which I'm sure I've mentioned on the show before. I have seen the reboots / remakes from the 2000s and later. One with Jessica Biel and then one with Alexandra Daddario. I don't think I've watched Leatherface yet. None of them are all that interesting to me beyond the original. This one I was expecting to absolutely hate from the things that I had been seeing on Twitter about the characters and being these millennial, or maybe they're Gen Z. I don't know. I can't keep track of the later generations after Gen X. Sorry. SJW assholes taking over this town, buying up this town. I thought, oh my god, I'm going to hate these people. Found out as I was getting into it, I don't really hate them. I think they're kind of trying to play both sides here and make them not necessarily absolutely despicable. And then also with the townspeople, and there's only a couple of them, not have them be awful or overly stereotyped. But then it just kind of muddied the waters. I didn't care all that much for it. It's not hideous. I saw a lot of people describing it as silly fun, which I don't quite understand. It's I mean, if you have Netflix, you've got it. give it a whirl. It's like barely 75 minutes long without the credits. You're not going to be wasting too much time. The reason I had mentioned watching this on the Cat People episode is because John Larroquette has a small role in that one scene. And for anyone who doesn't know, he did the voiceover narration of the opening crawl at the beginning of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre and was paid in joints or something like that. And it was touted he was going to make an appearance in this new one. I think most people assumed it would be VO again, and it was in something more like a true crime show.
The events of that day were to lead to the discovery of one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I watched the French film Titan, which had gotten a lot of hype last year, dropped on Hulu recently, and it was another kind of meh for me. I don't know, overhyped in my head, I guess. Go watch Cronenberg's Crash instead. It's not awful, overlong again, and it's rough because through most of the movie, the main character doesn't talk. That can be interesting. It's been done in films before. Cockfighter, for example.
Cockfighting.
But, yeah, something about that in this one didn't work. I felt like something was missing throughout the film. I watched Antlers with Kerry Russell and Jesse Plemons. I love Jesse Plemons, if I've never mentioned that. Pretty good, interesting take on some Native American myths. Of course, there's only a couple of Native American characters in the film, which seems like a missed opportunity. Apparently they did their research and talked to Native folks about the Wendigo, and that's not a spoiler or anything, it's pretty clear from the get-go that that's what they're doing here. Again, not bad. It's on cable. Catch it on a Friday night or something. Don't Breathe 2 popped up on cable. I don't know. I guess I should write these down. Stars or Showtime. I don't recall which. I really liked Don't Breathe. I find the choice of making the blind guy from the original the hero in this seems weird when you know what he did in Don't Breathe. And so I was kind of like, cringe. Okay, I think I see what they're trying to do here. But overall, it was weird by the end of it all to have him be a hero. Not an anti-hero, just a hero with a really disgusting past.
That's weird.
I watched this new no-budget horror film that was made by this family. I guess the mom and the dad and the daughter travel around the country and make films. And this one had been getting a lot of buzz for a while. It's called Hellbender. Pretty trippy. You could call it folklore, witchcrafty, fun. At first, I thought that I was going to not be able to get over the digital look of the film. But I did pretty quickly, and it ended up being pretty interesting. And they do a fairly decent job of the special effects. There's a lot of visual effects that are cool. We get some trippy LSD type stuff going on. Worth a look. That is exclusive to Shudder. Speaking of, my Shudder subscription just renewed today. And they just dropped a whole crap load of new French Extreme films. Like, 10 or so. And there's one that I've been trying to see for years. Notorious, new French Extreme, gory graphic horror film called Inside. So I gotta watch it here within the next day or two. I will report back on any of those I watch on next month's episode. The most successful new watch for me, and I was a little bit surprised by this, was the new Candyman. I saw the original in the theater back when it first opened, and Clive Barker stuff is very hit or miss with me, and it never really, something about that film just never quite gelled with me, and so I thought, I I think going in with lower expectations helped me, since I don't have a big connection. I've never even seen the original sequel to the first one. Very interesting visual style in this. Lots of mirror work, which I love, and works for the story, and of course goes back to the original as well. I mean, that's how you summon him.
Candyman, 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 Candyman.
But yeah, I would definitely watch that one again. I enjoyed the way that they represented the Candyman in this one. Okay, well that's it for watches. My last little bit of news here is something I allude to in the Cat People episode. I'm going to be re-releasing the Why Didn't I Rent This episodes. I'm pulling those episodes out of the compilations that I made. I think the main reason is that when I released the last episode, one of the last 2 episodes, I realized, oh, that was the 100th episode, according to my track list on SoundCloud. Maybe different on iTunes, because I think I have one hidden from them, one of the music ones. And I realized, well, why even mention it? I mean, it's kind of a milestone, I guess, to get to 100 of anything. But why mention it when I've taken these individual episodes and compiled them into a longer episode, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to re-release those for that reason, to have a more accurate count of episodes. Whenever I need to promote an episode that's within one of those compilations, I have to promote the whole thing. There's no specific cover image for it. Also, I'd like to start archiving the show where I have a list of movies and where you can hear me talk about them, whether it's on like a feature-length episode, or whether it's on a Why Didn't I Rent This, or whether it's on one of these monthly episodes, or one of the other numerous things that I do. So I'm going to be re-releasing them, and I just wanted to give people a heads up on that. I'm not doing this for extra plays or anything like that. I just want to get them back out there. I'm fighting within myself to not mess with them. I have those files still. I'm not going to try and fix any audio issues. I think the main issue on that stuff, since those came out that first year I was doing this, would be how the clips sound. And I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm not going to come in and try and fix everything. So they're just going to be re-released. Apologies in advance if you have them downloaded already. I'll do 3 at a time. So over the next few weeks, I'll release the 3 from Volume 1 at the end of this week, and then Volume 2 next week, and Volume 3. And Volume 4 I never compiled, so they'll just be there. And I will just keep releasing them as individual episodes. I've got so much other goofy shit. If you do happen to go back and listen to these, you'll hear me hemming and hawing about how I should release them, the original idea of hiding them after a while and putting them in a compilation episode. You'll hear a lot of stuff that's outdated. But it's a nice time capsule. They're interesting for me to listen to. Since they're so short, I listened to the first 3, and my delivery style is very different. And I think they're all pretty decent for short little quickie episodes. And I just wanted to give people a heads up about that. Hopefully I'll have lots of good stuff to talk about for March viewing in a month or so. We've got a long month now with March. March is my birthday month. I always get happy when March 1 rolls around. Hopefully work doesn't interfere too much. It has been interfering a lot with movie watching. I mean, work sure does get in the way of living, doesn't it? And I have to agree with the immortal words of Henry Chinaski when it comes to that.
This is a world where everybody's got to do something. You know, somebody laid down this rule that everybody's got to do something. They got to be something. You know, a dentist, a glider pilot, a narc, a janitor, a preacher, all that. Sometimes I just get tired of thinking of all the things that I don't want to do, all the things that I don't want to be, all the places that I don't want to go, like India, like get my teeth cleaned, save the whale, all that. I don't understand that.
You're not supposed to think about it. I think the whole trick is not to think about it.
Thank you so much for listening. Be on the lookout. Oh, I remember. I also mentioned on the Cat People episode, I wasn't sure what was going on with the hardcore episode, the Big Reaction Month over at CultureCast, and I messaged Chris, and he is currently house hunting and hasn't had a chance to edit it. Completely understand. House hunting is one of the most draining things you can possibly do. Just keep your eyes and ears peeled. I will let everybody know when it drops on social media, on wakeupheavy.com, etc. Okay, so hopefully March offers lots of fun, new French extreme horror to my eyeballs, and I will talk about all that next time. And other than that, I'm not really sure what else is going to happen in March. Maybe I'll do a birthday episode for myself. All right, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, a great week. Stay safe, be smart, and don't forget,
anything can happen when you wake up heavy.
Hello, my friends!
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.